Evening.
Hello. How are you today?
I am good. It was a very busy day, all good stuff, but yeah, I'm ready for it to be over. How about you?
I'm good. It's also been a busy day, and I'm just happy Zoom's working this evening.
Okay. I saw your little note, so there was a few little problems, bugs today, maybe.
Yeah, yep, all kinds of bugs. And then I've got a bug too, so I might be coughing a little bit as we go through it. But how are you doing, Terry? Terry Wilson. We've got two Terrys here.
Oh,
So
okay.
I am I am very well, and I
awesome.
I am just like you. I cough, and when it rains and washes stuff out of the air, and then stuff blooms, but
Uh-huh.
hey, it's part of it.
That's right. This is Texas, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I actually this weekend went to a friend's daughter's soccer game in Austin. I was in Austin visiting them, and so went to the soccer game, and they were talking about um, it's allergy season, and we're right here in the, I guess Austin's like lower down, so it's like a bowl and captures all of the allergens. I was like, oh, it's fine. I've mastered allergies, and then this happens. I'm like, okay. Maybe I haven't fully mastered all of the health things, but it's good too. So I was actually thinking about this earlier, that this should be a some type of post for social media, because it's really, and I don't know if y'all noticed this, this was actually one of the questions in the nutritional assessment questionnaire that you filled out. But one of the questions was, how long has it been since you last got sick? And it's like on a regular basis, once a year, every 3 years, never get sick. So most people, if they fall in that never get sick category, then their immune system never gets exercised. And so when they do get sick, they get really, really sick. So you do actually want to catch something every 2 to 3 years and just work out your immune system a little bit. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, congratulations then.
Yeah, yeah, building those muscles. um, Anna and Dory, I can't see you guys, but can you give me like a thumbs up or jump in the chat? Oh, okay, there's Anna. Oh, and Dory, awesome. Okay, I just wanted to make sure y'all could hear me as well and see me and all that good stuff. Well, I think this is it. There's four of you. Yeah, three earlier. So welcome. I'm so excited for our first class today, and so excited that you all decided to join. I truly think this is going to be transformational for you. And I hope that y'all enjoy and get all of the benefits out of this. Before we get started, I thought it would be good to just go around the circle and go around the circle. We're not really sitting in a circle, but you know what I mean. Go around and introduce ourselves and just share with the group why you decided to join. And so whoever wants to go first.
I will be happy to.
Thank you.
My name is Terry, last name Wilson. I have known Meg's family for a long time. In fact, her oldest sister is one of my very best friends. I'm a retired teacher, and so that's how I got to know Michelle. I have joined because I have severe sugar cravings, sugar addiction, and the more that I'm reading now, I'm discovering that it's really, really bad for me. Plus, menopause has not been kind, and so I'm ready to take charge of my health so that I can go and travel and do the things that I want to be doing in the best healthful state that I can be in.
Yeah, I'm so glad you joined. I think you're going to get so much benefit out of this.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, who wants to go next?
Shall we just get all the Terrys out of the way?
Yeah, let's do it. Y'all
Okay.
are the trailblazers.
Yeah. So my name is Terry Krupp. I met Meg through a networking group, Polka Dots. So I've known you about a year now.
Mhm.
And so my biggest motivation, I'm a fairly health conscious person, but just stuck in a cycle of, I've gained a lot of weight in the last couple of years, mostly due to stress. But just, yeah, I am not, I need to fix whatever is off balance or out of whack, because no matter how little I eat, I don't lose any weight. And
Mhm.
there's the sleep and a little bit, I think that pre-diabetes number is, like right at that borderline. And and my blood pressure every once in a while isn't good. And that's not normal for me. And so I said,
Yeah.
oh boy, I got to change things. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. And this is actually something we're going to talk about. And I don't think you said this before, but you said no matter how little you eat, you're not able to lose weight. So this is a super common misconception, but actually the less you eat, the more your body tries to hold on to weight. And so it actually, for most people, especially women, backfires. So we might increase what you're eating and you'll notice that you start to lose some weight. All right, who wants to go next?
I can. My
Okay,
name is
great.
Dory. And I came to know Meg from Dr. Robbins at Well Within in Frisco. And I am seeing him and Meg really for, I have Hashimoto's. And just like the Terry before, I have gained a ton of weight. I lost 150 pounds and I promptly gained 150 pounds right back. So I just keep yo-yoing. And I kind of just don't even know what to eat anymore. So I guess we just need to start all over.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you decided to jump in. Dory just happened to call me, like do a introduction call the last day that this was open. And so I'm like, it's really last minute, but I think this program would be awesome for you. So if you want to jump in. And so I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah.
Also, I love the shirt, your shirt color.
Right. Nice.
Twinning. All right, Anna.
Well, that leaves me. First, I'm going to apologize. I'm incredibly Zoom awkward. So
That's
I've been
okay.
trying to sit here, figure it all out. And if I do something really bad, I'm sorry. um, let's see. I was a student of Michelle's, and I met Meg because my stepsister, was roommates with Ashley, Meg's other sister. And I even went looking at college campuses with Meg many moons ago. And we've just kind of kept in touch over the years. And I'm intrigued by what she's doing. I have been watching her journey. I personally am having a lot of health issues. Like my blood pressure, my blood sugar, all that's great, but I have a lot of cognitive brain fog kind of stuff going on. I have a 40-pound weight gain this year from stress. I am in pain constantly, and I'm pretty sure that's all inflammation within my body. And I've had weight loss surgeries. So these shouldn't be issues, but they are. And I'm about to turn 50 this week. So now it's as good of a time as any to learn how to eat like a big girl.
Yes. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I forgot that you were on the college tour.
Oh, yeah.
It was a long time ago.
That was ages ago.
Yeah.
I saw places I'd never even seen before.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you guys are all here. I also yesterday added you all to a group chat. So this is something we'll talk about in the presentation as well, but I would recommend you download the Practice Better app. It's a free app. And I'll show you what the icon looks like. So it's this one. It's like 2 half circles in green. And that's the system that I use to communicate with my clients. But in there, we have a group chat as well. So at least y'all all have a voice and a face and a little backstory. And then we've got a few other people in there as well. But really, I want us to be able to use that as a resource, both if you're struggling one day, if you've got questions, also to easily find the Zoom link if you can't find it in your email because you get bombarded with emails. All of that will be in there. So let me switch over and share my screen. And I don't know why it's doing this, but hopefully it's not too distracting. I can't get this bar to go away. So can y'all see the intentional living and you can just ignore the
Yeah.
Canvas stuff on the side? Awesome. And then if I do this, do you now see the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're first of all just going to do an overview of the program and what you've gotten yourselves into, make sure that you're set up for it and know what's happening when. Then I'll give you some suggestions to make the program better and easier for you. Then we're going to dive into the main topic of tonight, which is really intentional living and mindful living. After that, we will talk about the 21-day anti-inflammatory food plan and what's involved in that. I know that's the part that people are always kind of nervous about. And then finally, we're going to talk about how to prepare for that because you're going to have a full week to prepare for it. In the email that I sent out, if you click on the graphic, there is a PDF that goes along with this. So if you haven't pulled that up, I would recommend it. I also have it set up where, because I'm kind of blind, it's really big font. So I do that because I like to look at everything digital. And so it makes sense for me to make it really big. If you print it, it might look huge. So I know my sister is brilliant. And what she did is she printed it, but put 4 pages on each page so that it was regular size. So just thought I would share that tip if you prefer pen and paper. Anna, I just saw your message. Oh, but this was earlier. You figured out your audio. Okay. Okay, so let's do a quick overview of what you've gotten yourself into. So we're meeting every Tuesday at noon or 7 p.m. And really, I do it this way where you can have some flexibility. I know earlier today I had somebody who's planning on coming primarily to the PM classes, but tonight is her daughter's birthday, so they wanted to take her out for dinner, and so they came at noon. So however, whatever time works best for you, just jump into the class that works best for you each week. If for some reason you can't make it to one of the classes, I am going to try to remember to record each one, and I can send you the recording. But definitely, if you go that route, you're not going to get as much benefit out of it as you would if you show up in person, just because you'll be able to answer or ask questions and also hear other people's questions and learn that way. So before the program starts, one of the things that you got when you joined in the welcome email, there was a link to a class, and this is not mandatory, but it might help you out. It's a pre-recorded class on healthy grocery shopping, and that can be really helpful for you if you've never shopped this way. And so you've got that resource available to you. Also, did everybody here receive their HTMA test in the mail?
Yes.
Okay, good. So hopefully you've read the instructions and either done it or are planning to do it sometime soon. And then did everybody receive their cookbook?
Yes.
Awesome. And then there's intake forms, which I believe all of you completed your intake forms. If you didn't, I will private message you. And then finally, for those of you who are silver and gold, once I get your blood work back, I will reach out to you and we'll set up your one-on-one appointment. So if you are the gold, if you picked the gold, or sorry, not gold. Yeah. If you pick the gold or silver package and you did the blood work, once I get it back, then we'll schedule your one-on-one. And so ideally, I like to do that the first 3 weeks of the program, just so that you have like really specific to you steps to move forward with. For the HTMA testing, I get that back partially depending on when you send in your sample, but it will probably be closer to the end, which is good too, because then you kind of have next steps. Okay, so week 1, this is where we're at today. The topic is intentional living. This is my second time to teach the class today, and I'm thinking I need to just change it to mindful living because that's really what it is. I don't know, when I first created the course, intentional made sense, and maybe it still does, but it's mindfulness as well. Next week, we're going to talk about digestive health. I love this concept of really understanding what happens when you put food in your mouth and chew it, and then what happens from that point on. Because when we understand that, we are much more mindful about the food that we put into our mouth. And so I always get a lot of good like ahas from that class and the stuff that's passed on in there. After that class, the following day, so October 2nd, that's when we will actually jump into the 21-day anti-inflammatory food plan. So you've got a full week to prepare for it, go grocery shopping, prep foods, pick out recipes, all of that. And if for some reason you need to start on a different date, you do have that flexibility as well. On week 3, that's when we'll have the balancing blood sugar module. And this is purposefully timed because, quite frankly, a week into the anti-inflammatory food plan, you're probably going to feel bad. And so just a heads up on that. But it's the perfect time to find out why you feel bad. And really it has to do with your body craving sugar and detoxing from sugar. And so you'll learn a lot about it. And because you're going through it, you're going to really understand and internalize what's going on. And hopefully from there, be able to take life lessons from it. Week 4 is balancing inflammation. And again, this is purposely timed as well, because by week 4, we're 2 weeks into the anti-inflammatory plan, and you're probably feeling amazing because your body is letting go of all of that inflammation. And you'll notice at this point that your clothes are fitting looser, and just that you don't have the aches and pains that you thought you had, and maybe you even thought you had them just because of your age or something like that. So all of that is going to probably be cleared up by week 4. And then week 5, we talk about detoxifying the right way and talk about why you don't have to do some special like juice cleanse or big detox, take all these supplements to detox your body, because our bodies naturally detox. And we've now set our bodies up by week 5 to naturally detox. So I'll give you some recommendations on ways to like further support it, but also to help you understand like how it's naturally doing it. And then week 5 is the end of the 21 days. And so in week 5, we will also talk about reintroduction. So if you have some big wild party planned for October 23rd, I would push it out another week, because you want at least 1 week, if not multiple weeks, to reintroduce foods. And so we'll talk about that. But that's a really amazing time to understand how your individual body reacts to different foods as you reintroduce it. So we reintroduce foods one at a time. And then October 29th, that's when we have Life After the Balancing Program. So we'll celebrate the fact that you did the hard thing and you made it all the way through, but also talk about how you can continue on with this new lifestyle that you've been building, so that you don't, at the end of this, just revert back and, reverse all of your hard work. So that is the plan. Any questions? No? Okay. Let me take a sip of tea. So a few tips to make this easier for you. First of all, try to show up each week in person if you at all can. Like I said, if you can't, if life happens, I totally get it. And I will try to record them for you. But if you can, that's how you're going to get the most out of this, is if you show up in person and have kind of that community aspect of it as well. Number 2, all questions are allowed and even encouraged. So there are no dumb questions. I really want you to learn and understand. So ask any question that you have. And if I don't know the answer, I'm happy to, number 1, tell you I don't know the answer, but also go look it up for you. And then feel free to eat or drink during these classes. I realize that I'm hosting them during kind of eating hours. And so, we're talking about eating and digestion and all that. So don't feel like you need to hide or turn off your camera if you're eating. In fact, I kind of like it when people eat, because then it feels like we're sitting around a big, kitchen table together and, communal, even more communal. So please feel free to eat and drink. Keep your camera on if you can. Just that helps you be more engaged in class and also helps the class feel more comfortable. Also, honest and constructive feedback is definitely welcome. I always try to improve and add things to this course every time I teach it. So if you see something that you think is missing, or see a random typo or whatever it might be, please let me know, because I definitely want to make this better and better every time I go through it. If you have any questions specific for me, so again, in that Practice Better app that I showed you, you have the ability to message the group, but you also have the ability to message just me. So feel free to reach out to me on there. I respond every day except for Sundays. I take Sundays off, but that's a place that you can go if it's a private question. I would say if it's a question that you think other people in the group have, ask it in the group, because we can all learn from each other. It might be a question that they didn't even know they had, but they have the same question. But if it's like, hey, I have explosive diarrhea, you might not want to put that in the group. And so that one you could just private message me and I can help you figure that out. And then finally, don't stress. Instead, feel excited about the changes that you are about to experience. Okay, so let's jump into intentional living. You have to stop seeing yourself the way that you used to be so that you can become who you want to be. So what most people do is when they are struggling with their health, they have this desire to change. And so it might be that they want to lose weight or build muscle or have more energy or overcome debilitating illness, etc. They've got this one thing that they're really focused on. But what they do is they view themselves as being either overweight or weak or unhealthy or sick. And when you claim that, then you basically create an anchor. And it's really hard to move on if you're anchored. So if you think about a ship in the water, when the anchor's down, it still, kind of sways back and forth, but it's not going to move to its destination because the anchor is down. And it's the exact same thing. So let's say it's the weight thing and you call yourself fat. Even if you don't say it out loud, if you tell yourself in your head that you're fat, every time you do that, you're putting down this anchor. And sure, you could do a crash diet and lose some weight, but you're going to hit a point where the anchor is holding you and you're not able to move on. And so it's really important to be intentional and mindful about the words that you're using. And that's what will help lift that anchor so that you can truly start sailing towards your desires. And so it says here, nothing will change because that anchor is your identity. Whatever outcome you're wanting, you must see that first. And you don't see it, if you don't see it in yourself, then you will not allow others to see it in you. And so the solution to this is called priming. And this is a little bit about how priming works. So 95% of your thoughts, emotions, words, and habits all are on autopilot and just going over and over and over again in our minds. And so it's really important to be intentional, at least in the beginning of this, in changing that autopilot. The best time to do this at is in the morning. So the first 20 minutes when you wake up is the best time to start training your brain to reassociate and redefine and lift that anchor and move you towards your goals. And I know the first 20 minutes doesn't work for everybody. If you've got kids who are waking you up, you can't be like, go away, I'm priming right now. But if you have any type of control or even a spouse, like I personally, I love mornings now, but I will like jump out of bed and run away so that like my husband won't talk to me in the morning so that I can do my own thing. So do what you need to do. But ideally, you don't want to speak to anybody the first 20 minutes. You also want to go somewhere private and then drink a little bit of water. So our whole body is dehydrated when we wake up, and drinking water will help activate your brain. You want to get still and calm. And then you want to start imagining your ideal body and what that could look like. And then feel what that would look like in your body too. So it's not just in visualizing it. So let's say that, actually, I'm not gonna walk you through something I made up. I have a friend who does this perfectly. I have a friend who is a super busy mom. She's got 2 young kids that she has to drive everywhere because they're in different sports and do all kinds of extracurricular activities. And then she's got a job and then a side hustle as well. And she's just exhausted all the time. And what she tells me all the time is that she wishes that she could be like Natalie from Charlie's Angels. So if you remember that movie from like the late 90s, I think maybe early 2000s, Natalie every night would every morning jumps out of bed and like does this whole little dance and shakes her butt. And it's just funny, but it's just like this energy coming out of her. And so that is what she visualizes and what she wants to become. The only problem is she's got the young kids who barge in and wake her up. And so she doesn't have the time to prime. But if she did, that's what she would be priming. Okay, and that's actually this right here, but instead I'm going to drop it in the group chat, the video, just to show you that. So after you sit there, you visualize it. For her, it's that having endless, boundless energy that she just wakes up with. She's visualizing it. She sees exactly what it is. She feels how exciting it would be to have that type of energy. And then she opens her eyes. And when you open your eyes, you'll physically feel like you have achieved that healthy body that you desire. And this is something that comes with practice. So don't expect it to happen overnight. But with continual practice, when you open your eyes, you will start to feel that shift. And then your brain is now aligned with the healthy body that you desire. And this is a great time to also do journaling and use I am statements. And so I do want to say here, if you, let's say you want to lose 100 pounds and you write down, I am my ideal body weight, you might feel like you're lying to yourself. And if you're lying to yourself, that's not going to be helpful either. So maybe what you want to do is break it down into chunks or break it down into things that you know that you can do now. So it could be, I am proud of myself for choosing not to have chocolate yesterday, something like that. But the I am statement, again, is reinforcing, and especially writing it down really reinforces for your brain and your body that you are creating this new version of yourself. Any questions on that? Okay. So every thought and every spoken word out of our mouth is determining who you are and who you are becoming. And this next slide is actually what I did in the anti-inflammatory class. So I think, I guess, Dory, you did not get to attend the anti-inflammatory class, did you? Okay, so since you haven't, I'm going to make everybody do this again. So we're going to do a little brain exercise just to see the power of our minds. And I think this is especially powerful because I'm literally just a chick on Zoom telling you what to do. And you're going to be amazed at what you're able to do based on what I walk you through. And so if I can tell you this, then just imagine your own voice is one that's constantly talking to you and the impact that you can have on yourself. So I'm gonna have everybody stand up. You don't have to adjust your Zoom or anything like that, but I will adjust since I'm gonna be walking you through this. But stand up and get comfortable, get your feet under your hips, and then raise one hand and just point straight ahead, okay? And what I want you to do is, without moving your feet, just turn your body as far back as you can and see what you're pointing at when you turn all the way back. So I'm pointing at like the windows behind me. Everybody have an idea of what you're pointing at? Okay, and then come back forward without moving your feet and point forward. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes, and I'm going to walk you through a quick visualization and just continue to point forward. Don't move your feet. At the end of this visualization, we're going to turn and point again. Okay, so you're super excited. The balancing program is starting today. And you know that these 6 weeks are probably not going to be easy, but they're going to be worth it because you're finally going to hit your goal and you're going to reduce your inflammation and you're going to get rid of this back pain that you've had for a long time. And so you start the program and you're excited. And then we go to week 2 and now you've got to give up all these foods and it's really hard, but you're doing it and you're sticking with it. And after a few days, you actually are already feeling good. So you decide to start exercising, and nothing major, just like a daily walk or some daily stretches. And you notice that the daily stretches and the walk feel pretty good. So now you're like committed and you're doing it every day. And so you're stretching every day. You're going for a walk every day. You're feeling better and better because you're fueling your body with good food and you're noticing changes in your body too. You're slimming down a little bit. Your skin has cleared up. You no longer have those aches and pains in the morning, and your back pain that was one of your main concerns is totally gone. And it's pretty amazing because it's not like you took some special medication or anything like that, but you're just doing the work and prioritizing yourself and really just helping move yourself forward. And so now you decide to add in some yoga as well. And now you're doing yoga every day. And again, like just getting more flexible, and you're amazed that there's certain poses you can do that you did not think you would have ever been able to do again. And you're super excited about that. So at this point, we're at the end of the 6 weeks, and you've had these huge transformations, and you're excited to keep on with it. And it's the last day of the balancing program. And so you decide to just test your back and your spine again. So still pointing forward with your eyes closed, turn your body and point as far back as you can. And once you get to the furthest point, open your eyes and see what you're pointing at. And then you can turn back. Is anybody pointing at a different spot than they were the first time around?
Yes,
Yeah, I
Yes.
was.
Yeah.
yes, me too.
Like that amazes me every time. And I'm literally the one doing, like, walking you through it. But that's
Yeah.
the power of creating a story and telling it to yourself. And again, it's 10 times more powerful when you do it for yourself versus a random chick on the internet telling you this stuff. So pick your thing that you want to prime for yourself. And like, if you're able to, first thing in the morning, start visualizing it, start thinking about what it would feel like, and the success that you would have, what that success would feel like. And let's start lifting those anchors that have been holding you stuck so that you can move forward and sail forward. Okay, so let's talk about the 21-day anti-inflammatory meal plan. And if you have the download, this is all in there as well. I know some people like to just print off these pages to have that available for you. But something I want to say before we go through this is definitely not a starvation plan. In fact, I hope you never feel hungry as you go through this. If you do feel hungry, it doesn't have to do with the food, it has to do with lack of planning. And so that is one of the downsides of this program, is it does require you to kind of plan ahead and maybe do some food prep. But if you do that, it will be so much easier. So other thing I want to tell you about is that this is not a low carb diet. So you can have lots of carbs, but you might notice that this list of carbs looks different than the carbs you're used to. So we're getting a lot of carbs from veggies, and this list is not all inclusive. So if there's something that you really love and you don't see it on here, feel free to ask and I'll let you know if you can have it or not. But there is a lot that you can eat. And like I said, a lot more than just this, but this is primarily non-starchy vegetables on this list. Also, I don't think anybody in this group is in this category, but if you do want to gain weight, let me know and I've got a special plan for you. And I'll say as well, if you are primarily vegetarian, let me know and I have a special plan for you. Okay, so next up, still in the carb category, I call out nightshade vegetables separate only because I do want you to have the ability to make this a little bit more personalized. And a lot of people get inflammation from nightshades, and especially arthritis inflammation. So if you're somebody who struggles with arthritis or thinks you might have arthritis, you might not want to have nightshades for the 21 days. And so it's this short list of foods, but still they're foods that are in a lot of things like the tomatoes and the peppers. So just something to consider there. And then you can have fruits. So lemons and limes are unlimited. If you're somebody who likes to eat lemons, more power to you. But this does come in handy when, adding it to water and things like that. Also, you can pick one of the following. And so you could have a Granny Smith apple every day. You could have a green tipped banana. So this is a banana that still has a little bit of green on it in the grocery store. And ideally when you eat it, so when you bring it home, if it sits there and becomes totally brown, that's not something you want to eat during this program. If that happens, freeze it. It will be great in a smoothie after the program, but don't eat it during the program. There's actually science that shows that when it still has green in the banana, it helps reduce blood sugar levels. But as soon as it becomes yellow, fully yellow or brown, then it can spike your blood sugar. And if you really enjoy smoothies, then get them green and freeze them right then and there when you get home. And that way they'll stay green. Also, you can have half a cup of berries, any berry except for strawberries, just because strawberries are so sweet, they can trigger sugar cravings. You can also have a small grapefruit or half of a large grapefruit, because in Texas we have pretty big grapefruits. And then any fruit that is in season. So this really widens the gap, but what is in season changes all the time. So on here, I've got a QR code to the seasonal food guide. This is like one of my favorite websites to visit. Not only do you get to see what's in season, so what's in season is always going to be more affordable because it's in abundance, but it's also going to be healthier for you because it's got all of those fresh nutrients in there. But I really like it because sometimes I just get bored of eating the same thing over and over again. And so I'll go to this and be like, what's in season? And like, oh, good, oranges are in season, or plums or whatever it is. And it will just like trigger me to be like, oh yeah, I like that. And I haven't had that in a while. So I recommend adding that to your phone. Also, not a low fat diet. So you can eat fats on this. And in fact, I encourage you to eat fats, but I want you to be picky with your fats. And so the fats are allowed are eating avocados or having avocado oil. Bacon grease is allowed on here. You can also have butter. So this is technically, it's going to be dairy free. Butter is the exception. But if you think that you struggle with dairy, then I would recommend just switching to ghee for the 3 weeks. So ghee is just clarified butter, but it has all of the dairy taken out, all of the parts that you might react to taken out. You can also have coconuts or coconut milk or coconut cream, coconut oil, any of that. You can have duck fat, you can have fish oil, cod liver oil, lard, olives and olive oil, and then tallow. And then nuts and seeds. Why are you laughing at that?
Because I was cleaning out my pantry the other day and I have 2 jars of olives and I don't eat olives very often. And I'm thinking, I don't know what in the world I'm going to do with these olives. They're going to sit here until I throw them out. Well, now I know because I'm probably going to feel, at least at first,
Yeah.
like I'm so hungry. I need an olive. I'll start eating olives.
Yeah. Yeah. And olives, like foods high in fat, it's really hard to overeat. So they are a great snack. Now, the
I like them.
sodium.
I just had no idea what I was going to do with 2 jars of olives. Now I know.
Yep. So you can have nuts and seeds as well, and these fall into the fat category, although they also have protein in them. And you can have all nuts except for peanuts. So peanuts are not actually a nut, they are a legume. And peanuts and coffee are actually the 2 food items that have the highest concentration of mold in the US, which is why peanuts aren't allowed on this program. I do still allow coffee because I'm not like horribly mean like that. I'm not going to take your coffee away. But if you have control of your coffee and care about it and want a good quality coffee, I can tell you some good quality ones that are checked for mold. You also can have nut butters, again, anything but peanut butter. And then you can use nut flours. So a lot of times, a lot of recipes will call for nut flours. And you can eat all the seeds you want. I do want to call out that with the nuts and seeds, it's really easy to get into mindless snacking with them. So this is one area where I would recommend kind of measuring out a portion size, so like a handful or a fourth of a cup, something like that, just so that you're not constantly eating them and not thinking about it, because we do want you to be more conscious and mindful about what you're eating. Okay, so protein. You can eat all the animal protein, whichever animal proteins you like, you can eat that on this plan. And then also you can have fermented soy. And so I don't want you eating regular soy, but if it is fermented like miso, natty, or tempeh, that is allowed on the program. And then tamari as well. And then protein powders. So the caveat with protein powders is it needs to be a single ingredient protein powder. And if you are curious about a good one, I finally found one that actually has no flavor, which is lovely. It is beef based, but it doesn't taste like anything. I've tried a few different ones that were just disgusting and added a weird flavor to anything you added to it. So if you want a recommendation for that, let me know. And then spices and herbs. You can have all the spices and herbs you want. This adds amazing flavor. One of my favorite reasons to buy and use paleo cookbooks is because they use so many amazing spices and herbs, and that's really where you're going to get flavor in these foods. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to flip through the cookbook, but there's a lot of really good looking stuff in there, and the flavor will be on point because of the spices and herbs that they're using. If you're using a spice mix, make sure you read the ingredients list and just make sure that it doesn't have sugar added or gluten or anything artificial or hydrogenated oils. And so with everything, basically, you're going to be reading labels.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You showed tamari, which is the wheat-free soy sauce,
Uh-huh.
and my husband keeps buying that accidentally. So I have a lot of it, but I also see under spices and herbs, you mentioned replacing soy sauce. So
Yeah.
can you do the tamari soy sauce?
I'd have to look at the ingredients list
I
on
know it's
that.
gluten-free.
Yeah. You still should check and see if it has like sugar added or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But coconut aminos is an awesome replacement for soy sauce.
Okay.
And I think at this point you can get that at most grocery stores. It's a little bit sweeter than soy sauce, which is interesting, but it's literally fermented coconuts. And it's awesome, like added to homemade salad dressings to make it just a little bit sweeter.
Okay.
And I'm the weirdo who like goes out to sushi and carries it in my purse. You too can become a weirdo like that. Okay, so beverages. You can drink all the water you want. I encourage that. Also, caffeinated teas, herbal teas, almond milk, whole and unsweetened, mineral water, kombucha. So with kombucha, you want to limit it to 8 ounces a day, and then check the sugar content. So kombucha, the way it works, it's a fermented drink, and so it requires sugar in order to be fermented. But if it's 5 grams of sugar or less in the per serving, then the sugar is basically eaten up in the fermentation process. If it's more than that, then they have added sugar after the fact to make it sweeter. And I'll tell you guys, for those of you who like a cocktail every now and then, I feel like kombucha is a lovely like stand-in for it, where you still feel like you're drinking something special. And because you're only drinking 8 ounces, sometimes I will mix it with just some sparkling water to make it a big drink. So if you get in that rut, I recommend kombucha for that. You can also have plain seltzer. You can have coconut water, but again, with the coconut water, you want to limit it. And then you can still have coffee. And I know earlier people were asking about what they can put in their coffee because we're not saying milk anywhere in here. My favorite thing to add to coffee, if you like milk, is a brand called Nut Pods. So Nut Pods, most of their coffee creamers don't have any sugar added to it, but they do have flavor and it's natural flavoring. So like my personal favorite is just the vanilla. And because there is vanilla extract in there, it has kind of a sweeter taste, but it's nothing bad for you in there. But Nut Pods is made of a combination of coconut and almond milk. So that would be a good option. Right now, they do have a pumpkin spice latte. So if you love that, 'tis the season. You don't have to give it up. You just have to upgrade it to a better option like that. And then a challenge for you. So I do want you to drink plenty of water. And so if you can, then try to drink half your body weight in fluid ounces every day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, your goal would be 100 fluid ounces a day. And that might sound like a whole lot of water because it is, but that's okay. What I would recommend you do is just slowly work your way up. Give yourself grace as you work your way up, but slowly work your way up to that target amount. Drinking enough water will help flush out inflammation as well and help you just feel overall so much better, more energized, clearer brain, all of that. A few other tips with this is try to drink more water in the morning versus the evenings, because if you're drinking it all, or like if you're chugging it to try to get to your daily amount right before bed, you're probably going to be up all night going to the bathroom. We don't want you to do that. So try to drink more in the morning versus the evening. Also, as I just said, the chugging thing, chugging does help flush things out, but it doesn't help hydrate. And the whole purpose of drinking 100 fluid ounces a day, or not 100, but half your body weight in fluid ounces a day, is to help hydrate you. So it's better to just have something and sip it all day long. So I almost always have my Stanley cup with me, and I'm literally just sipping on it all day throughout every day and then refilling it. Another thing you can do is add either a pinch of salt, literally like a few grains. You don't have to be able to taste it, or you can buy fancy electrolytes, but either one of those is going to help your body absorb the water and utilize it. And again, that's going to help you reduce inflammation and feel better overall. And part of your hair tissue mineral testing will give me an idea of specific electrolytes that would be good for your unique body's needs. So know that that's coming. Okay, so that's everything that you can eat. Now let's switch gears and talk about what you can't eat. So in the carb category, I want you to avoid all starchy vegetables. And so this is corn, peas, potatoes, plantains, sweet potatoes, and winter squash. Okay. Which is too bad because we're getting ready to be in winter squash season. But again, it's 21 days. We can do anything for 21 days, right? The season's not going to be over when we finish this. For beverages, no alcohol of any kind, no juice of any kind, no sodas, tonic water, mixed drinks, milk, cream, or dairy creamer. Also, no heavily processed foods, even if it says something like gluten-free on it, we're not eating it for the 21 days. And then all sweeteners are going to be out during this time. So artificial and natural. So like earlier, somebody asked if they could still use honey. And no, that's out for now too, just because we are trying to turn off the sugar craving hormones in our body. And so going without it for a little while, we'll be able to do that. And then when you reintroduce, you can reintroduce those things and maybe even switch from regular sugar to honey in your coffee or something like that. And that will be a better option for you at that point. Also for fats. So we have a big chunk of the inflammation week where we're going to do a deep dive on fats. But for now, it's really important that you at least avoid these fats here. So anything hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. And then vegetable oils. So anything that says vegetable oil, canola, corn, safflower, soy, or grapeseed oil. All of those are inflammatory.
So
And
I'm sorry, what kind of foods would be, like, what kind of fats would be like hydrogenated? Because all I can think of are things like Oreos and peanut butter, but we're not eating those.
right, yeah.
So what else would be out there that we'd have to look out for?
So thankfully that you don't have to worry about so much. It's more like crackers.
Ah, okay.
So a lot of crackers are going to use some type of vegetable oil that causes inflammation. If you really like crackers, I totally recommend Simple Mills crackers. They're one of the few that uses a better oil. There is some controversy around it, but based on research on the company itself and their process, I think their oils are okay. Also, like if you love chips, Siete chips, not their potato chips, but like their grain-free chips would be on this program as well. And they use avocado oil.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the oils will basically cut out almost all of the heavily processed foods because they're using these cheap oils that make them more inflammatory.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. And then proteins, you can have tons of proteins, just not peanuts, peanut butter, soy that's not fermented. So any questions about the foods before we move on?
So for grapeseed oil, would that be like always or just for this program?
Just for this program. Yeah.
Okay. Because
And
I
that's-
use it occasionally in other places. But
Yeah. I do hope that by the end of this program, you won't want to ever use it again, and I'll give you
Okay.
options to replace it with. But this is like what we're doing in these 21 days is not a diet. Like this isn't how I want you to eat the rest of your life. This is truly like an experiment and a chance to reduce inflammation and then reintroduce foods and see what causes inflammation for you. So,
thank you.
but yeah, great question.
Did you say we're supposed to avoid the nightshades?
Only if you struggle with arthritis. or think that you struggle with arthritis, or
Okay.
just think that you have a sensitivity to nightshades. So
And
if
does
that's a
that
question mark,
Yeah, does that include the potato being a nightshade, or
Yeah.
those are off the table because it's starchy?
yeah, those are off the table because it's starchy.
Okay.
Yeah, which now that you're saying that, that's probably confusing on the handout, isn't it? Because I think I have it on the list of nightshades. But yeah, potatoes should be out during this time because of the
Okay.
starch in it. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm going to write myself a note real fast and fix that for the next round. The also in the handout at the end, I've got a whole additional resources section. And in there, I've got a link to my favorite healthy online grocery store, which is Thrive Market. And with that, you can get 40% off your first order. But I also have a link to my snack guide, and it kind of walks through my favorite snacks. So like I mentioned Simple Mills or Siete, but if you want some more ideas, go check that out. It's the link, or there's a QR code on there for you. Okay, so now that we've gone through all of these strict rules, I'm going to tell you, and what you can eat, can't eat. This is truly the one and only rule that I want you to fully embrace, because you're going to slip up. Like, we're human, right? We're going to do our best for those 21 days to stick with this, what we can and what we can't eat. But life is going to happen, and at some point you're going to slip up, and that's okay. But I do want you, when the opportunity comes up to slip up, I want you to choose it consciously. You're going to enjoy it thoroughly because you chose it, and then you're going to let it go. So let's say that you go to a 5-year-old's birthday party and they happen to have your all-time favorite cake. And you're like, well, cake definitely is not on the list. But you can then think about it and be like, it's one time. If I'm going to allow this to not have me backslide and jump, face plant into all of the other foods I'm craving, then you're choosing it consciously, and then you need to fully enjoy it. And maybe that looks like eating, and we're going to throw up some balloons. So maybe that looks like eating, 2 or 3 bites and then realizing like, I'm not enjoying this anymore, and stop. And then don't hold on to any guilt or shame. So guilt and shame both weigh us down. And again, it creates that anchor of, I'm a bad person, I can't lose the weight, whatever it is, but that is putting that anchor back down. So if nothing else, I hope that you take this to heart and really repeat over and over again. I choose it consciously, I enjoy it thoroughly, and I let it go. Because that's really important, because life is going to keep on happening around us, even if we're in this little bubble of 21 days where we're trying to do things right. Questions on that? Okay. So preparing for this big shift that will happen next Wednesday. First of all, I recommend cleaning out your pantry and fridge if you can. Obviously, if you're living with other people who aren't going to be participating in this can be a little bit tricky. What I would recommend if you're in that category is, instead of getting rid of things, put it where it's not like at eye level for you. So make it just a little bit more out of the way, a little bit more inconvenient to get to. Also, if there's foods that you really love, but they're not on this list, freeze them. So you don't have to throw them away and be wasteful, but you could freeze them. And that could be an option as well. I feel like every time I do this, somebody ends up giving me like a box of really nice Belgian chocolates. And I grew up in Belgium, so I love them. And it's like, no, why? And you have to eat them within a week. And so they freeze really easily, and they can wait until you're done with this. Also, pick out recipes that you want to try. So that cookbook is filled with amazing recipes. You also can use things like Pinterest. If you use Pinterest, I recommend searching for paleo recipes. And that's not going to totally narrow it down to what we're doing, but that will at least take a lot of the bad stuff out and make it easier for you to find recipes that you like. Go shopping with the what to eat list, so that you've got that there for you, or like save screenshots on your phone so that you can easily access it. And then choose days of the week for meal prep and grocery shopping. Like I said before, you should not be hungry on this program. I want you to eat until you feel satisfied. Ideally, not eat until you feel stuffed. But sometimes it takes a while to understand what that feels like in our body. So again, give yourself grace if that is your category. But a lot of it, when you do the meal prep, it gets a lot easier. And so I generally, when I'm going through this program, I try to, on the weekends, at least set aside a few hours to really knock out all of the prep that I can, like pre-cook some meat or make some sauces or things like that. And that will make this easier for you. Questions on that? Okay, so additionally, I would recommend that you keep a food and mood journal. And so you can do this in a pretty notebook that you pick up at Target, or you can do this digitally. Because you guys are all on Practice Better, again, if you download the app, I'm going to show you this. So when you go into the app, once it loads, so on the home screen at the bottom, there's a little toolbar, and the second one is the food journal. And so you can use this food journal, and I haven't put in anything today, but you can literally either like type in, I ate a banana, or you can just take a picture of it. If you type in that it was a banana, it will pull up the nutritional information. We're not really focused on macros or anything in this, or we're definitely not focused on calorie counting in this course. But if you want to do that, and if that's something you're interested in with hair tissue mineral testing, I will tell you what your body's ideal macros should be. So if you want to just kind of get used to that or get familiar with what macros are, you can type it in. But otherwise, just taking a picture is super easy. And it's a good way to have some accountability as well. The only people who will be able to see that is me, well, you, me, and then my VA, which my VA is my sister, Michelle. So some of y'all know her. So I would recommend that, but also write down how you feel every day. So it's really interesting when you start realizing how much food impacts your mood. And it might really impact it negatively when we first start this, because you're going to have cravings and stuff like that, but it will get better. And so it's fun to connect the dots for that. Also want to encourage you to sleep, move, and play. So this program is about self-care, and all three of these are really important self-care practices. And so make these a habit, even if it's just 10 minutes of walking around, or sometimes I will literally get up from my desk and like walk circles around my kitchen island while scrolling on Instagram. So like I pair my bad habit with a good habit where I'm moving my body at least. So do something like that to just get your body moving, and definitely optimize sleep as best you can, and do something fun for yourself. And then finally, have an accountability buddy. So you could pick somebody on here that you just want to be a one-on-one buddy. Or the other thing with the app is, if I go back to the home screen, the very last option is chat. And that's where you can see the group chat. And so you can see, like, I went ahead and pinned the Zoom link so that we can find that every week. But you can post questions in there, or if you're having a really rough day, jump in there and share it with the group. Somebody will be able to lift you up, or maybe just be like, yeah, I'm having a tough day too. And sometimes it's just, misery loves company to know you're not doing this alone. There are really interesting studies with programs like this. So Whole30 is probably the biggest one. If you've ever heard of that, it's a specific diet that you do for 30 days, but a lot of times, actually September Whole30 is the biggest time for people to do it, which is interesting. You'd think January 1st. But with the September Whole30s, they've been able to track very specific moods to days as like things die off in your body and how you feel those days. And thousands of people have experienced the same thing. So I used to have a journal that broke it all down. If I can find it, I will link it there, just because it's interesting to be like, oh, day 19. Yes, that's the day where you want to kill all the things. Okay, now I get it. This is normal. Like, I'll just go to bed early and tomorrow will be a better day. So it can be helpful for that. So one other thing, have any of you ever used Trello?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So it's free software, and we have on Trello this meal planning board And this is totally optional. You don't have to use it. But this is what it looks like. And in the additional resources, you've got a QR code to it. When you scan the code, you'll set up an account and then you'll have access to this board. But underneath where it has the picture of the cookbook, underneath that is each individual recipe that fits within the parameters of the 21-day anti-inflammatory plan. And you can drag those over. So you could like meal plan on Monday, I'm going to eat this. On Tuesday, I'm going to eat that.
Oh, wow.
And then on top of that, you have the ability to edit it. So I've had past clients go through and like do a star rating, just using emojis on their phone of this was a 3-star meal and this was a 5-star meal. Or you can add notes like I changed out this for this, those types of things. So that's a totally free resource also on this. If you scroll all the way to, what would that be? The right, then you can see other cookbooks that we have used in the balancing program in the past. If you feel like this cookbook is too restrictive and you want some more options, you can see what other cookbooks we've already identified recipes for you. And again, that's totally optional. And that takes us to the end of the presentation. So, oh, look, and we are right at 8 o'clock. Love it when that happens, but I am here for any questions and I will stay on as long as you need me or have questions. Anybody feeling overwhelmed or excited?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Good.
The email that had some of the resources in it, because I got several,
Yeah,
what would that one be titled?
I think it's titled like Welcome to the Balancing Program, but here, let me look that up. Actually, yeah, I think it's Welcome to the Balancing Program. And it went out on September 9th. It should have been the only email on September 9th.
Okay, found it. Thank you.
Awesome. Is that title correct? Welcome to the Balancing Program?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
I will star that one.
Good. Any other questions?
Are chickpeas allowed or beans of any type?
No.
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 Does it no legume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I do, for those who are primarily plant-based or vegetarian, I do allow that, but then there's like additional rules with that. But no, on the general plan, we take it out because for a lot of people it is inflammatory. And then the reason why I allow it, if you are primarily plant-based, is because you do still need protein and they're an amazing source of protein, but there's added steps to ensure that your body can fully break it down.
Okay.
So I will share that at the end with anybody and everybody who wants it when you're ready to reintroduce them. All right. Any other questions? No? Well, I'm really excited that you guys are all along for the ride. You're going to do amazing. So thank you so much for joining in. And if you need anything, I'm here for you. I'm going to be cheerleading you on. And also every Friday, I'm going to be sending you a private message with In Practice Better with a homework assignment. And so it's going to be just a short, I want you to think about this, write some type of essay. And so be looking for that on Friday, but that way it's a good way to, again, like revisit what we talked about today and kind of build on what we're talking about each week. So.
I
All
do
right.
have,
Yeah.
I have one question before we go.
Uh-huh.
I know that I have a conflict next Tuesday evening and maybe another Tuesday evening.
Okay.
There's no problem with me switching to the noon
No,
meeting,
no.
is there? Okay,
no,
Okay.
just jump into whichever one works best for you. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, ladies. Well, have a good night. I'll see y'all next
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Night.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.